Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Santa Barbara Nutrients YouTube channel. Today, we have Jennifer Zinetti, who will be talking to us about how to increase fiber. Jennifer has been a renal dietitian for about 21 years, and she's been working in the area of practice for 17 years in a kidney clinic with people who are not on dialysis. One of the exciting things about Jennifer is she runs the Renew program in Canada. And for those of you who don't know, the Renew program utilizes a plant-focused ketogenic diet that avoids renal stressors, oxalates, inorganic phosphates, and purines, and incorporates the medical food Ketocitra, which is specifically developed for the dietary management of ADPKD. Participants have the opportunity to work with Jennifer as their personal dietitian as they work through the program. Jennifer is also part of the Santa Barbara Nutrients Practitioner Network, which is a network made up of healthcare practitioners who are registered with Santa Barbara Nutrients and are experienced in the nutritional management of kidney disease. There will be a link to our practitioner network below this video as well for those of you who would like to look into it further. Jennifer is a member of the British Columbia Renal Agency PKD community and has developed some of the best practice guidelines. Her hope is to use ongoing positive research on diet therapy to be part of changes in practice guidelines. Jennifer also recently received certification in integrative and functional nutrition. And today I welcome Jennifer to talk to us about nutrition and how to increase dietary fiber. Welcome, Jennifer. We're so glad to have you on our YouTube channel today. We'll go ahead and start in with a question. I know you'll be talking to us about fiber and maybe ways to increase fiber intake. So we'll start off with what is the importance of fiber as it relates to kidney disease?
So fiber is considered a carbohydrate, a non-digestible energy source, unlike starches and sugars that we get in our diet. So the importance of fiber relates to the impact on the digestive health of the person. And we are knowing that there is the idea of a kidney-gut axis. And so this relationship relates to or is influenced by fiber. And so we have this microbiome, which we call the second brain for some people that are familiar. And there's a constant relationship or talking back. So if our diet is inadequate in fiber, that can impact indirectly kidney health. And so the benefits of getting more fiber, we'll talk in a little bit, is critical for kidney health.
Wow, that was fascinating. I wasn't aware of that. I know you mentioned that, so it's critical for kidney health. Is there, should people with kidney disease be maybe concerned about not getting enough fiber?
Absolutely. So if we have inadequate fiber, then the microbiome, this balance of good and bad bacteria, can be altered. And more toxins that come with progressive kidney disease can build up. And that will shift the composition of the good and the bad. So more of the bad bacteria will override and cause what we call dysbiosis. And those can lead to negative compounds accumulating and affecting the relationship between the gut and the kidneys. So when we look at managing kidney disease, getting enough fiber can help not only for that aspect, but also blood sugar. So people who have diabetes, kidney disease related to their diabetes, fiber can influence that. If people have cardiovascular disease, fiber can influence the health of or the status of your cardiovascular disease. And we're learning too, just by reducing some of the uremic or the toxins in our blood can also impact cardiovascular health, regardless of the benefits of the lowering the cholesterol from having more fiber in the diet.
Wow. So
those are a
lot of benefits
things there. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's great to know. I think sometimes, people just maybe forget about fiber, right? We don't think about having it, including it in our diet. Now, on the contrary, is there a reason maybe that renal patients or patients who don't have kidney disease shouldn't consume too much fiber? Or is this more of a state of people just technically don't get enough fiber in their diet?
Well, generally, Americans and Canadians only get about 15 grams of fiber per day, which is half the amount that we need. Now, if we're looking at the having too much fiber in the diet, then that can really impact your appetite. So people with kidney disease, if their kidney disease is progressive, or if they have PKD where their appetite is reduced because the size of the kidneys are pushing onto the organs, that can change people's appetite. And so if somebody's getting too much fiber in the diet, they may aggravate that feeling of a poor appetite, and it can displace nutrients. So people are not having the appetite anymore, then they're not going to be able to eat, and then it can be a vicious cycle of not really getting enough nutrition, other nutrients in the diet. So fiber is important, but too much fiber can be a concern for some people who have issues with poor appetite. And then on the other hand, some people who might have kidney problems, but they have digestive issues as well, like Crohn's or colitis or IBS, certain types of fibers may not be very beneficial for them, or they may have to have a specific target of fiber. And that's something to be discussed with their specific kidney dietitian.
Okay, great to know. Now in there you mentioned certain types of fiber. So I was wondering if you could kind of expand on that a little bit and, discuss the difference between insoluble fiber and soluble fiber.
Yes, exactly. So many fruits and vegetables and whole grains have fiber in them. Now, it's the type of fiber that's important. So one is called soluble, and think of S for sponge. It dissolves in fluids or water. Insoluble is undigestible. So you think of your roughage. So that people associate that, or maybe familiar with the bran fiber that helps you with regularity. Now, when we have fruits and vegetables, some of the vegetables and grains are not only 100% soluble or 100% insoluble. There's usually a combination, but one's more predominant than another. And so the soluble fiber can help with lowering cholesterol. It can help with blood sugar control. It can help with feeling full. So helping with, weight, if that's something that somebody needs to work on. So, and it helps, it has many positive benefits. And it also, many soluble fibers feed the good bacteria in the gut. And when you feed the good bacteria, that microbiome, or all those bacterias, and there's thoughts to be about 1 trillion bacterias in our microbiome, and the feeding of these bacterias help let them flourish and promote all the beneficial things that they have to offer for our gut. And the insoluble fibers are really more focused on just regularity, creating stool bulk. If people are not having enough volume of stool, then that can help. And the soluble fiber can help soften the stool. So if they're still having the bulk, but it's hard, then they can have the softening of the stool with more soluble fiber.
Okay, great. So the soluble and the insoluble, they're both beneficial, but they seem to target just a few different aspects for issues that people might have, which is great to know. So what types of foods maybe then, I know you're talking about fruits and vegetables, but maybe, what 3 to 4 types of foods that come to mind when you hear soluble fiber?
So soluble fiber, we may think of oat bran, we may think of psyllium, or the brand name Metamucil is often used. That's pretty much 100% soluble fiber there. Berries, blackberries, 1 cup of blackberries, 8 grams of fiber. Fantastic source of fiber. Chia seeds, grounded flax seeds, beans, and citrus fruits are all good sources of soluble fiber. Insoluble fiber, we're looking at avocados, 8 grams of insoluble fiber for one avocado, which is fantastic. That's a huge dose. That's really great. Beans, again, the kidney beans, about 6 grams of insoluble fiber for half a cup. So beans fall in both categories. The skin is where the insoluble part is, and the inside of the beans is where the soluble part is. And then the whole flaxseed, so if you don't grind the flaxseed, the skin is indigestible. And so it just passes through you, and so that provides the bulk there. Pumpkin seeds are another good source of insoluble fiber, and then kale is a really good source of insoluble fiber.
Okay, great. Yeah, those are great to know. And we'll have a list of some others below this video as well too, but I think Jennifer covered quite a bit, at least to start off with, which is important. And this takes me to my last question of, what steps do you recommend for people who are trying to increase their fiber intake? So, it seems to me that considering insoluble helps with stool, and insoluble helps with the kind of bulking the agents. You want to start off a little slow. So what types of steps do you have or do you recommend for people who are just starting to increase their fiber intake?
Yeah, so I would, again, slow. You don't want to shock your system with all of a sudden I'm going to make a chili and then I'm going to add flaxseed and all these things to my day. And then your body's going to be like, wow, hold off. So, these good bacterias are going to be using it as a source. So you just want to feed them slowly. So I would start with looking at a meal, for instance, breakfast. If you generally have oatmeal and, that's a good source of soluble fiber, but you want a little boost up, well, then add in a teaspoon or 2 of grounded flaxseed. Maybe throw in some blackberries with a yogurt. Or if you have a yogurt in the afternoon, just add in some grounded flaxseed. I personally have a tub of yogurt and I just take my grounded flaxseed, open the lid, and I just put a whole bunch in and mix it all in right from the get-go. And then that way I'm not having to portion out. Other things like chia seeds are really great to add into your cereals in the morning. So other parts of the day, looking at snacks might be an opportunity, like some guacamole or hummus and some veggies versus a ranch dip and some veggies. So looking at ways of integrating in small steps. And at dinner time, looking at maybe trying to have a meal that has a little bit more fiber from beans and lentils. And again, slow introduction. And then also being mindful of if you're using soluble fiber in your diet or increasing that, you want to be looking at having a little bit, make sure you have enough fluids. Because the soluble fiber, again, sponge. So even if you did a little test and take a teaspoon or 2 of grounded flaxseed or chia seeds and put it in a little saucer and cover it with water, 15 minutes later, you'll see that it's soaked up all the fluid. So that's what it does in your gut. So if you're going to be increasing that type of fiber, you're going to have to make sure that you're going to be getting enough fluids to make it work. Otherwise, it will act like cement and it's not going to be giving you the benefits you're looking for.
Right. Okay. And then one more question about that. What about exercise? Does that also play a role when you're starting to increase fiber?
Absolutely. So movement. And if we go back to having kidney disease, some people might be experiencing the fatigue and they're on medicines, and that can affect bowel function and energy to do exercise. So exercise would be beneficial for moving the gut, waking up the gut, and so helping with the movement of just stimulating the bowels. Absolutely. And another piece that I forgot to mention is that in terms of the benefits for kidney health is that when you're moving your bowels regularly, then you can also increase the management of potassium. So if potassium is an issue for you, and you have issues with constipation, sometimes just targeting the constipation can allow your body to remove excess potassium that remains in the stool. The longer the stool stays in the system, the more opportunity the body is able to absorb potassium from our colon, and that influences our levels in our blood. So that's another thing that just to keep in mind of the benefit or the purpose behind moving the bowels for that.
Right. Wow, that's fascinating because a lot of people, with kidney disease, they might be concerned about the potassium, or they might have high
Mhm.
levels of potassium too. So that's really, really neat to know that fiber can help with that aspect as well. Great, great.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, this has been very informative, Jennifer. Really appreciate your time and expertise here on our channel today. And thank you again for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me. It was
All
great.
right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.